Hi everyone, I'm John Williams.
And I'm Rory Williams, and we're here in our historic red barn to taste a few wines with you.
Oh, yes, we are.
We're here in the historic loft of the red barn. Talk to you about a couple of Napa classics, or at least one Napa classic and one fresh, handsome face here of Napa.
I'm trying to decide which is which, to be honest with you. But really, when you think of Napa Valley, what do you think of? You think of Cabernet Sauvignon and Chardonnay. And I'm thinking about pouring myself a glass.
When I think about Napa, I'm thinking about a glass of wine. So
yeah, I think that's the right way to go. I'm so excited with what we're doing with Chardonnay these days. It's, we've been making Chardonnay since 1982, so we've been doing it for a long time. But you can always learn, you can always get better, and I think that, I'll give you a little bit of credit, a little bit of help. We have been making some fantastic Chardonnay the last few vintages, and I'm just digging this.
For us, Napa Chard can conjure up images of, lots of oak, lots of butter, way too creamy, doesn't go with food.
Tropical fruit flavored pancake syrup is what I call it. Yeah,
exactly. And we try to steer very wide of that kind of paradigm with wine. We just, especially with our Chardonnay, with our wines in general, but especially with the Chardonnay, which for us, the magic of Chardonnay is this kind of crispness and its ability to have richness, but also not be sweet or weighty or anything like that. It just tends to really, it can reflect terroir in a really beautiful way and just gives pleasure over a long period.
You may have noticed that the last couple of years, we've added shale and stone to our Chardonnay, and there's a story behind that because we really want to convey this image that our Chardonnay is so minerally, so fresh, so crisp, so lively, so fun to drink, and has that nice little touch of reductivity too, and that's a triumph, I think, and a real additive to the wine.
I think it comes from your long association and the Frog Sleep's long association with the Truchard vineyard, which has been a grower of ours since the 80s, and it's now a single vineyard Chardonnay from that spot, and your familiarity with this vineyard where you are up there walking every corner and finding the different nuances.
Just straight uphill.
Yeah, straight up and downhill.
And these vines have got some age on them. These were planted in 1979, and so you rarely see Chardonnay of that with that much age on the vines, and I really think it adds to the complexity of this, that deep shale soil that these kind of vines have now got their roots down in, and really bringing up tons of flavor. But we make this in a uniquely different way.
Well, you explained the first half of shale and stone. So these are grown in fractured shale and fractured sandstone down in the Carneros district of Napa, so the cooler southern area of Napa County. The stone part is, I think, an innovation that I will give you full credit for just being a beautiful part of what makes this wine something that we love to drink. Which, for years we would make Chardonnay and you'd make it in a kind of faux Burgundy style of barrel fermentations, and I think you even had a beret, and you had one of those little cigarette holders.
We were trying to make Pony Rocher in Napa. If you put Napa in Europe, you'd be below Barcelona, Spain. So it was probably a fool's errand, but I gave it a game, and we made some nice wines. But I think this wine has got an extra dimension to it. In a wine where we're not trying to express oakiness, this wine is 100% barrel fermented in brand new French oak, but only for 4, maybe 5 days, just at a time that it gets to its peak of its fermentation, and then out it comes. We rack it out of the barrels, and it goes into a large concrete tank that holds the temperature into the wine. It gets this wine drier than almost any Chardonnay, I think.
It's funny, Chardonnay can be talked about as of this grape of technique, where you're always talking about what barrels are you using, are you stirring here, are you doing this? And for us, it really is hands-off in a way where this does go into oak barrels, yes, for a few days for fermentation, but then is racked out, like you said, to this concrete tank where it just sits there.
11, 12 months on the lees, and that's where we get this beautiful reductivity, that kind of matchsticky brioche sort of character that just adds a lovely element to the wine. It's just so fun. This is a very unique Chardonnay. It goes so well with food, and it's just, believe me, this is a fun wine to drink.
Basically, we got really lazy with our wine making techniques, and we decided to just put it in a tank and forget about it. And then we waxed poetic about how brilliant it was. So typical Frog.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. That's what we do.
When you pop this bottle, please allow it to open up and get a little bit of air, and it's just going to be so expressive.
Yeah.
Same could be said of our next wine here.
Can we try that? Yeah, that's on your side of the table there.
So
and I got a big glass for this.
Oh yeah.
Pull
your fish bowls for this one. Cabernet Sauvignon.
And what a class! I mean, to talk about Napa Classics with Cabernet, we talk a lot about this idea of terroir, the idea that a wine has a character of place, and of course. This being a Rutherford Cabernet, we talk about Rutherford dust, this idea that it has this earthy, dusty character that's so typical of this place that it really couldn't come from anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I think that's the highest level of wine appreciation, is when wine has a sense of place, has a personality of the place. This smells like home, right?
Well, that's what brought me, I've told you this story before, Deb, but this is what brought me back into the wine business, was the idea of a wine tasting and smelling like home, and to kind of taste like this place and really taste like our home here in Rutherford. Our 3 estate vineyards for Cabernet go into this, farmed in our classic style, organically farmed and dry farmed. This is one that I think we're going to be drinking for quite a while.
Well, and I was going to say, if you want to do yourself a favor, sometimes it's not a bad idea to, and here's what I'm going to recommend, is that you buy a case of this.
If you'd like to also do us a favor, you can buy 2 cases.
That doesn't, there we go. But at least one, put them down somewhere nice and cool and dark, and then put a bunch of stuff on top of it, and then hide some things on top so that you've forgotten that you have it. Because in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, and then on from there, quite frankly. And we've had the pleasure of drinking some nicely aged Cabernets of our own and other people's as well. And this is one that I think really deserves the attention that would be given it by putting a few bottles down. I know I'm going to.
Keeping them safe for a few years and really seeing, pull a bottle out every few years and just see how it's developing, because this is a wine I feel that it's going to flash different characteristics at different times, but ultimately is going to end up going 30 years plus without a problem.
And it's so beautiful now. That's the hardest thing to do, is you want to, oh, come on, I want to drink another bottle. Maybe 2 cases.
That's kind of a constant problem of ours, actually.
Well, 2 Napa Classics, a little Chardonnay to get the evening started, and a beautiful Cabernet to polish it off. Enjoy, you guys.